Okay. Now, usually when I get to PubMed, I want to go to advanced. Okay, and the one thing that I was looking at here was spinal manipulation. I want to show you something that I didn't show you last week. Okay, this is something new, and I think it's very helpful. When you have something like spinal manipulation, you can use it with lots of different things. But if I'm looking for whether or not spinal manipulation is going to be an effective treatment option for reducing pain, I want to make sure that spinal manipulation is an important part of the article. I don't want it anywhere. So lately we've been doing things where, so up here it says all fields. So when you type down in here, you're getting all fields. It could be, if somebody just mentioned it in the discussion, for example, it'll come up. But what I really want is I want to make sure that spinal manipulation's there. So I'm going to put it up here in this box. When I put it up here in this box, what happens is that I can toggle here and I can have spinal manipulation be part of the title of everything, or I can have spinal manipulation be part of the title and abstract. Okay, just to show you what happens if I hit title abstract, okay, and then I say add here. See how it's spinal manipulation title / abstract? That means that every article I pull out here is going to have spinal manipulation as part of the title or abstract, which means to me that it's an important concept for that paper. Okay, so when I add it to history, oh, I did a bunch of stuff. Let's delete this. Okay, let's add history again. Paste. Add history. So now, when I do spinal manipulation, it's going to be in the title and abstract of 1,639 results. So here's my spinal manipulation as part of the title, or it's going to be part of the abstract in the background. Does everybody see that? And you can choose to do title abstract, or you can choose title too. So for example, if I wanted to do spinal manipulation here, so I have 1,600 results that have spinal manipulation, but let's look for title. And I got 738. So it's going to limit the number of articles that I pull out, but I can be absolutely certain that spinal manipulation is a huge part of that paper. Okay? So that's something new that we didn't talk about before. Going back to this. If I have to do, so I have spinal manipulation, and I can go back to title abstract, and that's fine. When I go to title abstract, here's spinal manipulation, and I can look for mesh terms that go with spinal manipulation. And I think most people had no problem with this. Manipulation spinal was the main text word. Okay, and then looking down here, I've got lumbar manipulation. I saw a lot of people with that. I probably wouldn't add, I saw some groups adding cervical manipulation. I don't know that I'd add cervical manipulation because I know that the person has a lumbar issue, right? Just things to think about. Another thing is that when you go through and you're starting to look for words, other words that mean the same thing. So let's just take this because we know that's going to be our mesh term. I always like to have a mesh term in there. Okay. Put it in the beginning, that's fine. Okay, that's going to be my mesh term. Other words for spinal manipulation, so there was, based on this mesh term, I can come up with lumbar manipulation. Another one, when I go back, if I go back to PubMed and I look at spinal manipulation, there are other things that come out. And when I went through and I did this, another word that came out in addition to spinal manipulation and lumbar manipulation was mobilization. So I can say lumbar mobilization. And you know, when I did this earlier, the other word that came up was, the other thing that here, let me show you. When I take lumbar mobilization, or maybe that's how I found it. Let's take lumbar manipulation. Just trying to show you how you can find other words that mean about the same thing. When I go to advanced here, and I go type in lumbar manipulation, if I don't put any quotes there, it's going to give me a whole bunch of other words. When I look at the details of the search, okay, I get spinal manipulation, I can get just plain old manipulation, I can have down here lumbar manipulation, all these things will come up. So if I just wanted to do general manipulation, I'm not necessarily going to get lumbar manipulation, but I'm going to get, you know, general. If I wanted to broaden my search and pull out everything possible. So just different things you can do. As far as, and there's also lumbar mobilization. That's another one that I can use. And then lumbar mobile, if I copy lumbar mobilization and paste it in there. Okay, then I'm going to get this. And when I look at the details under lumbar mobilization, one strange thing is that mobilization and lumbarized, lumbarization, lumbars, I mean, those are all things that I can pull out, but mobilization also has an alternate spelling with an S. So that's something that I definitely want to add here. Okay. Usually my rule of thumb, if I can get three search terms and one mesh term, then that's a pretty good start. Okay. Now, when I have reduced pain, I'm looking here for reduced pain. Thing that I learned, I put it in quotes, and I add to history. And I can search. I've got 5700 here. Reduce pain. I can pretty much take any of these if I'm just looking for pain, just to get to the mesh database, looking at what kinds of things come up. There's pain perception. So if I'm looking for a mesh term for reduced pain or reduced pain, okay, that's what I was trying to get to. The way to find it, if I put in reduced pain and then search, I don't get anything. So what should I do? Any thoughts how I can find something that might be viable? If it doesn't come up with it when I search my mesh terms for mesh term, I need a mesh term for reduced pain. What kinds of things might I put in? Discomfort? Well, discomfort is another word for pain. I'm looking for a word that means reduced pain. How did you get to pain management? Yeah. So if I type, if it doesn't work and I'm not getting exactly what I'm looking for, I'm going to take the main word, pain, and then if I do that, it takes me to pain management. Okay, and I think that's the best option there. So if you can't find a mesh term with exactly the words that you're using, truncate it down to another word, and then when you go through pain, there's lots of different options, but I think pain management is definitely the best option here. Does everybody see that? All right, add search builder. Okay, you know, I can do reduced pain, pain reduction, right? All those things are going to be, I can have decreased pain. Any of these words mean the same thing, right? And then low back pain, I think most people had no problem with that. Okay, does that make sense as far as what you can do? So this one, I think a lot of people had difficulty with this. Okay, the one that I know a lot of people had difficulty with, the other one that I know a lot of people had difficulty with, so most people were able to do the low back pain. You come up with lumbago, lumbar pain, or all that other nonsense. Okay, so you can do that one. But the big one that was challenging is this one. Okay, so there was a lumbar microdiscectomy here, right? And then this is the P part. So the microdiscectomy is going to be the P, and the I, the intervention, is you're looking at progressive exercise program combined with exercise, progressive exercise program combined with education, and the comparison, the C, is just an education program alone. Okay, you can either reduce disability, improve function, or you can choose to capture both of those ideas. Okay, so you can say improve function, functional improvement. I mean, there's lots of things, or you can just choose reduce disability, or you can take both of those concepts and use it as your outcome. Okay, does that make sense? Now, I saw a lot of people had difficulty with if you combined everything with "and" at the very end, you were limited in the number of articles that you retrieved. Is that accurate? So I know a lot of people had difficulty with this, and then there were some people who had way too many articles and they couldn't pare it down. So it's really just going to depend on the words that you're choosing. As long as you are choosing words that are synonyms, true synonyms, you could always bring it down. You're going to start to have problems when you have too broad of a search overall. Okay, so when you get 4 terms that you're trying to combine with and you're not getting anything at all, you get 0. This happens all the time, right? I see it where people have difficulty. I think the best thing to do is, instead of combining the comparison and the intervention with and you can combine the comparison and the intervention with or. That way you get articles that have anything to do with either of those things. Does that make sense? No. Okay. Yes. Okay. And I think that's what, so I think I could probably, and when you do this kind of search, you don't know what's going to work because you don't have an idea of what's available in the literature until you actually do the search. But if you get stuck, if you have 4 terms that you're combining and you get stuck, instead of combining the intervention, which would be progressive exercise and education, an education program alone with and, just combine those with or, and then redo your search. Okay, make sense? Okay, let's go ahead and try. So I think that's going to be enough, and especially with the like I said, the example is just my feel for how you're doing with this, and then I can kind of go back and work with it. But I'd like everybody to try to do